Good evening, my viewers. This is In Christ Television. Of course, this is your greatest television as far as Christian content is concerned. And of course, this program, as always, it is Kingdom Finance, where we say your money grows. Previously, we have been bringing a lot of materials regarding financial literacy. And of course, today, there is no difference with that. We have really been talking about how people can really still thrive, still do well in their businesses, in their careers, in their professions, even in such times where things in the world have shifted. And one of the things I really would like my viewers to understand is that things are not too different from how they have always been. Inflation has been there many years ago, even in the time of the Bible. You can remember there is time in Israel when the only place where we had grains is in a place called Egypt. And of course, you can remember that inflation came in. People could not afford food. People were depending on importation. You can remember even people like Jacob sending his sons to Egypt to go and buy food. So whatever we're experiencing right now has always been there. Of course, it keeps on changing or shifting from one angle to the other, but it is the same thing. The Bible says that in the under the earth or under the sun, there is nothing new. Things that were there are still the things that are here. And therefore, it comes back to you as an individual. How are you changing? How are you, when the time changes, when things changing, are you still, fixated in the same position? Are things bypassing you? Are you adjusting your mind? Are you changing your thoughts? Are you changing your mindset to adopt new ways of doing things, as I've always been teaching you in this program? I'm not going to go to that direction because you can still go back to our previous videos on YouTube, and of course you're going to get all these materials, and I believe they will be so helpful to you. So today I want us to start a new episode which I'm calling financial literacy. Financial literacy, or basically financial education, because as I said at the beginning of the program, in this program we are focusing on one thing: how can you grow in your finances? How can you grow your business? How can you grow your career? How can you increase your income? And with that in mind, I want us to be talking about financial literacy, because I have discovered that this is one of the gaps that exist, especially in the mind of people, because every person, if on average, every single person earns money at least monthly, if not every day. At least monthly, every person has an income. Every person receives money. Yeah, so money is not the problem. Of course, the quantity or the amount of money you receive might differ. However, the bottom line is that every person receives money. And before I dive into the heart of this episode, I want us to discuss that every money, I would like to state that every money that you receive as a person has three components. Every amount you receive has three components. And component number one is called the past component of your money. In other words, the money you receive today, it is because of something you have done in the past. So your past needs to be compensated with the money you have received right now. The money you receive also has what you call the present aspect, the present aspect of that money. What do I mean? Today you need to eat, you need to buy clothes, you might need to pay school fees. You have this and that expenses that you like to incur, that you're going to incur. So that is the present aspect of your money. And of course, you have what you call the future aspect of your money, because you can know this, you have to know this, and this needs to be underlined very, very well if you are taking notes, that it will come a time that you'll be able to work. Well, you might be 20 years, you might be 15 years, you might be 30, 40 years, but we must know that there will come a time that you will not be earning any money, maybe because of old age, maybe because of a medical condition. We pray that won't happen, but even if medical conditions won't be an issue, one day you grow. One day will be too old to go out there and work. And again, some, even if age won't be the factor, but some of the things we do today will be so much undignified to do them in future. Today we have energy to run around, but at a particular time, your children will be maybe your age today. So the quote unquote, the hassles you do today might not be quite dignified to be done in the glare of your children when they have grown up. Yeah, you understand what I mean? And that's why we have to know that the money we receive today has a future aspect. Some of it should be sent into the future, that particular time that you won't be able to be working. I want to say this, another thought I'd like to bring to us is that our life is calibrated in time. And basically we have 4 seasons, quote unquote seasons. We have 4 seasons. We have the season between 0 to 25 years. That is called the season of, we can call it quote unquote confusion. This is the season of knowing who you are. This is a season of understanding yourself as a person, and knowing your giftings, and knowing your areas of abilities, knowing the areas that you can thrive, you can do well. That is from 0 to 25. From 25 to 50, that is called your afternoon season. 0 to 25, that is your morning season. 25 to 40, that is your afternoon season. You understand? Afternoon season is now when you're expected that you have already known who you are, you have gone to school, you have acquired skills, you have acquired competence, experience in such and such. Now you know what you do and you're already doing it. That is called your afternoon time. After that, you have what you call the evening time. Evening time is from 50 years to 75 years, and many of us are approaching that age. From 50 to 75, that is your evening time. This is a time you don't afford to joke around. That's a time, whatever you have never learned, you might never learn it again. Yeah, whatever you didn't earn between 25 and 50, you might never earn it. And that's why I'm saying some aspect of your money has to go into the future. Yeah, now from 75 and above, it is called the night time. This is a time now, all what you can do is maybe stay at home, or maybe you are inactive, you are no longer so active. Yeah, now you depend on the money you saved. You depend on the investment that you saved. That's why this is just the introduction. That's why we are saying financial literacy is very, very important at this stage, particularly to those people between the age of 25 and the age of 50. It is very important to understand some of this aspect of finance. Remember, we are saying this is where your money grows. So the first word I would like us to discuss today in financial literacy is called asset. 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 I want us to understand, they might sound basic. Some of these things might sound basic, but I want us to know that they are not as basic as you understand. As you dive into them, you are going to understand how they work, how they contribute to your financial well-being, because it is the understanding that attracts possibilities. It is understanding and knowledge that attracts possibility. So what is an asset? An asset is everything you own that has monetary value, that can be converted into money. Anything you own, both tangible, we have tangible assets, we have intangible assets, we have assets we call personality assets, where we have some personalities that by themselves are assets. So assets is anything that you own that can be quantified in terms of money. Yeah, examples of asset is land. Land is an asset. A house somewhere is an asset. Yeah, a skill, for instance, as somebody with a following, a huge following, that is still an asset, because you are able to convert that huge following into, for instance, you being hired by a company to do promotions for them. That is still an asset. We have what you call the literacy asset. For instance, you have copyright. Copyright is when you have done a book, you have done a song, you have done like whatever I'm doing right now is an asset, because it can be converted into money. When it comes to your screen, yeah, that is already an asset. It has monetary value because people can pay to listen to me. Yeah, they should anyway. So that becomes an asset. Yeah. So an asset is anything that you have, anything that has your name on it, and it can be converted into money, maybe today or in future. We have different types of assets, and of course I have highlighted them. Some of them are called tangible assets, like land is tangible asset. A vehicle is a tangible asset. Yeah, we have a building is also a tangible asset. Maybe office furniture, all those are assets. So long as you have some, even your phone, yeah, you can go with that phone somewhere and you sell it to another person and you receive money. It is still an asset. You understand? So we can keep on classifying assets. For instance, we have what we call business assets. Business assets are those assets whose purpose is to do business, whose purpose is to be converted into money with the mind of doing business with them. We also have what we call the personal assets. Personal assets are like my mobile phone is my personal asset. You understand? My personal car is my personal asset. But on the other hand, the vehicle that we use for business purpose is what we call commercial asset or a business asset. Yeah, I know you are still classifying. You can still classify assets as personal assets and public assets. Yeah, this is what is mine, and this is what we call the personal, the family assets. We have what you call the group assets. For instance, you come from a certain chama where you own maybe a matatu or this and this facility. That is a group asset. It's a group asset. We have your family assets. You have your personal asset. All these different categories are what we are calling assets. Yeah, one of the things you must understand about assets, many assets undergo what we call depreciation. Remember, we are talking about assets. Remember, we are talking about assets that can be converted into money. And one of two elements you must understand. Of course, we're going to go deep into this in future, especially when you keep on giving us feedback and speaking to us, and that go deeper into this element. We're going to bring a lot of materials regarding this. Regarding asset, we have what we call depreciation and appreciation. Depreciation, let me start there, is when the asset you have loses its value with time. For instance, your car. If you buy your car today at, for instance, 1 million shillings, maybe in the next 5 years, you can only sell that car at around 600, 500, 400,000. What has happened to your asset? Your asset has lost its value with time. That is called depreciation. This is very important because when you are buying assets, you must always consider what you call the buying price and resale value. You understand? So if the resale value is lower than the buying price, if the resale value is lower than the buying price, what has happened to your asset is that it has depreciated. Your asset has depreciated. It has lost value. That is called depreciation. And many of those assets that depreciate are basically machineries and equipments. Your mobile phone, if you buy your mobile phone at 20,000 from the shop, by the time you're at home and you like to sell it again, you're going to sell it around 18,000, 15,000 and such. All that is called depreciation. And before we take our commercial break, let us talk about appreciation. Appreciation is when the resale value is higher than the buying price. For instance, you buy a piece of land at 1 million shillings. After 2 years, the value goes up by 200,000. So you sell it at 1.2 million or 1,200,000 shillings. So what has happened? Your asset has gained value with time. The resale value has become higher than the buying price. That is called appreciation. So we have looked at various classification of assets, and of very, very important, we have seen that we have some assets that lose their values, and we have assets that gain value. Those that lose their values, that is called depreciation, and those that gain value in value, that is called appreciation. The money we receive today has the past, present, and future aspect. Therefore, you should be in a position to understand that the assets you have today, they have their present and their future aspect. And when we talk about the future, we are talking about the resale value. How much can you sell what you have compared to how much you bought it? And we said that if your asset is likely to be sold amount higher than what you bought it, or rather the resale value is higher than the purchasing or the amount of money used to buy it, then that is called appreciation. And if your asset will lose value with time, or rather the resale value is less than the buying price, then that is called depreciation. But depreciation is not evil because your asset is losing its value. No, that is not the aspect. Financial literacy requires that if anything is losing value as far as buying it and selling it is concerned, then during its lifetime or the time with which you stay with it, it should be able to generate more money to compensate to compensate you the amount of money you are going to lose when you are selling it. I hope that is very, very clear. So depreciation means that in the lifetime of that particular asset, it should be in a position to generate money or enough money to compensate you the amount you bought it and also the amount you are going to lose when you are selling that particular item. Let me give you an example. Look at a laptop. You are buying a laptop to use in your shop or to use in your business. So you buy this laptop at 50,000 shillings. At the end of it, after you stay with that laptop for 3 years, you sell it at 10,000 shillings. What does it mean? That the laptop has depreciated by 40,000. It has lost 40,000 in value. So what I mean is, during those 3 years, you should be in a position to earn the money you are paying yourself because you are also salaried, and also on top of the money you are going to pay yourself as the person who is operating that laptop, and of course all other costs related to this particular laptop, it should generate 40,000 to compensate that money you have lost when you are reselling that laptop. It is called depreciation compensation. You understand? So when you are buying an item, when you are buying an asset, the first question you should ask yourself is, will this asset appreciate? Will this asset depreciate? Yeah? Because at the end of the day, you have two choices: to remain with your money or to buy a particular asset. And the reason we are teaching you this, it is because time will come for you to dispose whatever you are buying. If it is a piece of land, if it is your car, if it is that equipment for your office or for your work, wherever you work, when it comes to buying and selling, you must consider, are we going to lose money? Are we going to gain money? So, if you do not have a clear picture, if you don't have what you call the futuristic aspect of your asset, let me give you an example. And this is one of the mistakes people are doing, especially when they are investing in the real estate. You have your 500,000 shillings. and then you are convinced by land dealers to go to a place like Matu and buy a portion or a parcel at maybe that amount of money, 500,000. And they tell you that in the next 10 years, your asset or your land will have appreciated by this amount. And of course, they throw in good language that there is a bypass being built in this and this place. There is a public school. There is a university being built in this and this place. And you buy that story and you end up buying that particular land. So what happens? In the next 5 years, because you have bought from the land sellers at a very high, these people make huge profits. You are going to discover that in the same place, they will be selling the same land at the same amount of money. So what is happening in this particular case? Your land has, or your 500,000 has not gained anything for the next 5 years. So because people don't understand how money works, you're going to get angry, get agitated, get a person to buy your land very fast at the same amount of money. So what has happened to your money? 5 years ago, it was 500,000. 5 years later, it is still 500,000. But what has happened to the inflation? What you are buying at 200 shillings, you are now buying it at 500 shillings. So what has happened? Your money has lost what we call purchasing power to inflation. So are you becoming rich or are you becoming poor? The answer is as good as what you are thinking. You are becoming poor. You're not becoming rich. Why? Because you are not understanding how assets work. You're not understanding how money works, the future aspect of asset and money. And that's why it is very important to seek what we call financial counseling. You understand? Therefore, what am I saying? You need to sit down with a pen and a paper and understand that asset you're buying. Let me give you another example. You're buying your personal car. The first thing you should ask yourself is, why do I need a car? Many people say, I need a car to save time. The question is, that time you have saved, what are you going to do with that time? I'm not discouraging anybody from buying vehicles. They are very, very important. But if people started asking themselves these hard questions, one of the things you are going to invest on, before you invest on that asset, it is what we call personal investment. Are you investing in yourself so that you as a person, you become more valuable such that you can now save time to earn more money with the time you have saved? Okay? Some people save time to do nothing with that time. You understand? Somebody told me some times ago that when you see people walking so fast in the CBD or in the town center, you might think that they are going to a very, very important meeting. They are rushing to catch up with a deal, $1 million deal. But if I say, where are you going? I'm just getting to the stage to catch a matatu to my village. So what's happening in your village? I've just gone to say hi to my mom. I'm not saying it's wrong to do that. But I'm saying you have to sit down and understand your life. You have to sit down and understand the time aspect of your life. So that when you are now acquiring these assets, you're going to know, are you acquiring assets that are going to appreciate, or you can spend that money to invest in yourself and you're going to become more useful with your money. Remember, you're talking about appreciation and depreciation. So what am I talking about? Does it mean that if you have money, you should not buy land? Let me give you another example in 1 minute. Many people, they take money, 3 million, they use 1 million to go to a place called Kamulu or Mala, very far from reality. They buy land and they build a house. Is it wrong to do that? No, it is not wrong to do that. But somebody needs to sit down and do a lot of mathematics. What are you going to save? Yes, you are going to save on rent. Rent. How much rent have you been paying? 20,000. So per year, 240,000 shillings. So now you need to ask yourself, How much fuel will you be using to come from your house to your workplace? Does it commensurate the amount of money you are saving from your rent? There are so many other costs. Of course, status will rise. But let me tell you, some of these things people are calling status. It is not even status. It is just ego. I'm sorry to use that word on television. It's just ego. You just need to be known that you own a home. Yeah? I'm saying that because I've made such mistakes in the past. You spend 5 million to build a home, and that home is 100 kilometers from the CBD, from where you are useful. You're not useful there. You're useful here. So what are you supposed to do? That is an asset you can buy. But is it an asset that is helping you become or generate more money? No. It is actually causing you to lose more money. You have lost all that money to build that house. So what should you do? Think about business. Yeah? That's why you need this financial literacy. That's why you need to be done what you call financial counseling. Think about business. You understand? Instead of going far from reality to buy land, you can put that money in business, useful business, buying what you call financial instruments. And these financial instruments are going to safeguard your money from inflation, from being eaten by inflation. And then another opportunity will come up. You understand? Listen, I'm going to proceed with assets next episode. But one of the things I would like you to stop doing as I close on today's program is what you call panic buying. Panic buying. Yeah? That people have this mindset that in the next 5 years you might not be earning the money you are earning. Let me tell you, that's a lie from the enemy, from the devil. You'll still be earning money. Money will still be available. You understand? Yes, the dollar is on a runaway inflation. Listen, you also should be in the runaway in becoming more valuable and more valuable and more valuable. You understand? So don't do panic buying. Don't just go to the bank, withdraw all your money, kwenda Matu, ununue shamba, you buy land, and you start building some structures there. How will you be getting from Matu to the CBD? You'll be spending 1,000 bob per day on bus, yeah, or 2,000 shillings per day on fuel. You get my point? Seek financial literacy before you make investment decisions. Remember, we have started an episode called Financial Literacy. And today, and of course next episode, we are talking about understanding assets. Thank you so much for keeping me company and watching this program, and of course giving us feedback. We have our numbers there. We have our pay bill numbers there. We have our tills maybe on scrolling somewhere at the corner of your screen. Feel free to talk to us. Feel free to partner with us so that we keep airing these great programs to you every Thursday. Till next time, I'm your host Daniel. This is Kingdom Finance, where your money grows.